Hymns of the Far North, Volume 2. This text presents 3 ancient prayer songs from the book series Hymns of the Far North, Song 6, 11, and 16, each followed by a note from Priestess Ruth, detailing its history and modern revision. The common theme is the revising and simplifying of older, more complex and sometimes darker prayers by Ayla, the first moon chanter, to create the standard versions used today. Prayer Song 6 is dedicated to Takoya Ianikoinen, the primeval blacksmith, a great father of Genesis, forger of the earth's bones and the triplet moons. Let your wrath ride that askew throne, so that the beauty may submit. On the first day you forged a golden bow with lunar gleam, a weapon meant to strike down your foes. Yet while you hunted, your bow was stolen, and now your enemy brandished it as their own. On the second day, you forged a great chariot, its moonlit glimmer meant to guard your home. Yet, while you hunted, your vane was purloined, and your enemy claimed it as their own. On the third day, you forged a shuttle of moonlight, your heart set on the daughter of the stars. Yet in your recklessness, you wandered into a fog-drenched swamp, and the forge of light was quenched. You are the king, spoken, of yet unspeakable, O bloodthirsty, murderous blacksmith. You are the master of misfortune, the lord of all evil, obsessed with the unjust death of the innocent and the ruinous fires of war. A terrible and mighty eternal workman, lord of 2 natures, so strong, hale, and heroic as the gods themselves. Even the stars look upon you in awe. O indestructible Lord, please quiet this earth-shaking wrath. Lift the torment that occupies my heart and cast out this pitch-black disaster. Note from the Priestess Ruth. This is an ancient form of the prayer once used to quell the fury of nature. Though records whisper of a lost variant, its final 4 lines meant to summon, rather than quell, natural disasters. It vanished from memory long before the birth of the Moon Maiden. Long before the birth of the Moon Maiden, for reasons unknown. The moon chanter Ayla, first to hold the title, later revised and simplified the prayer. Her version presented below is now recognized as the standard for all recitations. O pale white frost moon, in the name of the descendants of the far north, I beseech you to appease this earth-shaking wrath. May your gentle light soothe the lingering pain that occupies our hearts and cast out that pitch-black disaster. This is a wrathful prayer to the primeval blacksmith, described as the father of Genesis and lord of all evil, bloodthirsty and murderous. The speaker asked this god to right that askew throne and quiet his earth-shaking wrath. The prayer recounts the blacksmith forging a bow and chariot, which were both stolen by his enemies, and his recklessness in losing his forge while pursuing the daughter of the stars. The priestess note explains this was once used to quell nature's fury, but it lost a variant meant to summon disaster. It was later revised and simplified by Moonchanter Ayla to a standard version that calls upon the frost moon to appease the wrath and soothe the pain. Prayer Song 11, Koitar in Sotervoinen, the goddess of the dawn star and apostle of the far north. I call upon Koitar, wife of Sotervoinen, and first, fairest daughter of the creator god, O generous maiden and bright morning star. Your deeds are forever praised in music by the descendants of the far north. The cold wind of night cannot extinguish the silver flame within our chests, nor can its perilous darkness corrupt our hearts. One day we shall return home to the wild grasses of the lonely graveyards, to the majestic golden city. I call upon you, Koitar, truly blessed, to cast your favor upon our conquest, even as you once subdued all nations with your might. I call upon you to shake the earth, to make the cities tremble, and to let the enemies of the far north vanish like dew beneath the frost moon. Note from Priestess Ehrenruth. This prayer is an older form, preserved from a time long past. It was later significantly revised by Ayla, the first moon chanter. The following text is now recognized as the standard for all recitations. The icy winds cannot extinguish the silver flame within our chest, nor shall the evil nights corrupt our hearts. O pale white frost moon, protect the descendants of the far north, and let the pitch-black disaster of the cold night melt away like the morning dew. This is a prayer calling upon Koitar, the goddess of the dawn star, and first fairest daughter of the Creator God. The speaker praises her and asks her to grant favor to the nation's conquest and shake the earth to make her enemies vanish. It expresses hope that the descendants of the far north will one day return to the majestic golden city. The priestess note states that this is an older form from a time long past. Moonshanta Ayla significantly revised it, shifting the focus from calling on Koitar to shake the earth to a plea to the frost moon to protect the descendants and make disasters melt away like morning dew. Prayer Song 16. Saarelainen, the stranger of winter's day. Oh, let not the death pangs you suffered pass into me, lover of frost and winter, you cheerful, fair, kind-hearted lad, noble born and nobly raised, a gentle and valiant son. Upon the starry steed you rode across the forsaken isle of Hisi and the dark, mist-shrouded lands of Pohjola, there to court the daughter of Pakaisuko, the peerless beauty, at her home. Then old Pakaisuko, servant of our forebears, answered thus: He will grant the young lady's hand in marriage if you should open for him the gates of Pohjola. Cheerful, fair, kind-hearted one, you knew well that wicked scheme, yet you went forth freely. For were you not to go, old Pakaisuko would have his gullible daughter suffer the punishment instead. In dark and foggy Pohjola, the Lord of the 7 calamities carved you into 7 pieces. And that young and pure girl, the daughter of Pakaisuko, shall never again be wed. O lost hero, I call upon you by your unspeakable name. You, the healer of the world's sorrow and misfortunes, and may your grace still the wild winds of the frigid night and bring warmth to the young birds huddled on the frozen earth. This is an old version of a prayer for wound healing and the curing of disease that was later revised and simplified. The following text is now recognized as the standard for all recitations. O lost child, in the name of the descendants of the far north, I pray for the blessing of light. May the frost moon's grace still the wild winds of the cold night and bring warmth to the young birds huddled on the frozen earth. This is a prayer to Saarelainen, a lost hero and healer of the world's sorrow. The speaker asks that the death pangs he suffered not pass into them. The prayer recounts the tragedy of the noble-born hero who rode to court the daughter of Pakaisuko, but was tricked into opening the gates of Pohjola, where he was carved into the 7 pieces by the Lord of the 7 calamities. The speaker asks him to still the wild winds and bring warmth. The note identifies this as an old version of a prayer for wound healing and curing disease. It was later revised and simplified by Eile into a standard version, the praise for the blessing of light from the frost moon to still the winds and bring warmth. Volume 3. This text presents 2 additional prayer songs, Song 21 and 22, that continue the pattern of ancient religious texts being preserved, and in the first case, revised for modern use. Prayer Song 21. Hurekuta, Goddess of the Frost Moon. O Hurekuta, Mother of Holy Light, pray, hear my pleas, and cast your gaze from on high. May your silent tears pierce the cold night, light a silver torch that never fades, and grant the people of the far north a guiding light. O Hurekuta, Mother of the silver shuttle, hearken to my prayer and clothe the heavens in gentle veils, the underworld's filth, that they may not lose their way in the cold night. O Hurekuta, wherever you lead, we shall follow, and your will shall be our law. Better that the cold night of death blind our sight, than that we sing in shame beneath the false light. Note from the priestess Ianruth says, this is an older, unedited version of the prayer. It was originally brief, as the only matters too sacred to be spoken of a length were the chief god who protected our ancestors and the origin, past and future of the moons. The first moon chanter Eile later revised and simplified the prayer's content. The following text is now recognized as the standard for all recitations. O pale white frost moon, in the name of the descendants of the far north, I beseech you to cast down your gaze from the celestial dome above. May your gentle tears pierce the frigid night and grant us, the forsaken and forgotten, your guiding light. This prayer is a devotional plea to Hurekuta, the Mother of Holy Light and Goddess of the Frost Moon. The speaker asks her to cast her gaze from on high and use her silent tears to light a silver torch, to guide the people of the far north. They also call her the Mother of the Silver Shuttle and ask her to use her spun silver thread to lead lost souls from the underworld's filth and prevent them from losing their way. The prayer ends with an ode of absolute loyalty to her will. The note from Priestess Ianruth explains that this is an older, unedited version, which was originally brief because the chief god in the moons were subjects considered too sacred for lengthy discussion. It was later revised and simplified by Eile into a standard version that is more concise, asking the pale white moon to grant its guiding light to the forsaken and forgotten. Prayer Song 22. Kutar, the Moon Maiden. O pure and flawless new moon, in the name of the messenger, the frost moon, I beg for your grace and mercy. Cleanse us of our sins, I pray, and wipe away the endless pains and tears, those forever barred from Elysium. This is a brief and direct prayer to Kutar, the pure and flawless new moon, the moon maiden, which is also known as the damselet or Columbina. The speaker, acting in the name of the frost moon's messenger, asks for grace and mercy. The central request is to cleanse them of their sins and wipe away the pains and tears of those who are forever barred from Elysium. This prayer is presented without a revision note, implying that this version may already be the standard, or that the original form was preserved due to its subject or brevity.